Are you one of those people who still guess para-completion answers? That means you're not attempting the question but simply gambling upon it. And you need to understand that CAT is not really a casino that you can play. And that's the reason we are here. So every single para-completion question actually comes with its own set of fixed logic, a flow, and also a trap. And in today's session, we are going to help you decode these three key factors. So Toprankers, SuperGrads and I, Sukanya, welcome you to this para completion mastery class where we find some hacks in order to master the skills when it comes to para completion. So let's not lose easy VARC marks, like seriously. I hope you can see my screen, by the way. Now, you need to understand what exactly is para completion. First of all, most people are of the opinion that it is just about the endings. That means they are going to simply ask you to predict the ending depending upon the flow of the paragraph. You need to understand that a blank could be anywhere. It could be as the opening statement, it could be in the middle of the paragraph, it could be the concluding line. But your job here is to find out the best fit. Best fit as in basically what follows the logical flow in the passage. And once you have identified that logical flow, the chances are you're going to get the answer right. Okay, so let's move to the next slide. What is the real skill being tested here? The real skill being tested is basically whether you identify the flow of the passage or not. Because most people keep on fuzzing around the positioning. That means wherever the blank is placed, they get really finicky about finding something that can fit the blank. But you need to understand what the author is trying to convey. If you have identified the flow, the sentence would come naturally. Okay, so it should follow logical continuity first. The idea progression should be sound and seamless. It should not look like something has been deliberately put there just to finish the sentence. It should look very much into, I would say, it should look very much one with the scenery of the passage. And there should be a very tight coherence between the sentences. Okay, there should not be something abrupt. Abrupt basically means something that does not really fit into the idea of the passage. Okay, you need to think like a detective and you need to ask yourself the question, what does this paragraph need right here? What is the missing link basically? Okay, now there could be three types of para completion question. As I have already told you, there could be an opening line para completion, a middle sentence missing, or a closing line missing. Now when I talk about the opening line will always set the premise of the story. It is what is used to set the context. It introduces the idea to us. Okay, so if you find words like this, these, such, that can never be your opening statement because they are always referring to something else which has been mentioned first. Okay, so you need to understand that whenever you see a sentence which uses a lot of pronouns and words like this, these, such, you need to be extra careful. If I talk about middle sentences, now in order for the middle sentence to make sense, you need to first of all understand what's going before and what's going after the sentence. Okay, now it should connect both the parts again in a way that seems very, very natural. So smooth transition is the key here that we need to keep in mind. And the last statement is the conclusion. Conclusions usually have inferences or it usually summarizes the passage for us. Now, generally you will see a definitive resolution to the paragraph, something that is tying the loose ends, something that is basically help us capture the entire idea of the passage. So that is what we are looking for when we are looking for conclusion. Now, here we have position-based hacks. What does that mean? So, if the opening is missing, how do we solve it? You need to eliminate the options which have this, they, such, or any other pronouns. Or you can also be on the lookout for continuation words like however, therefore, basically the conjunctions. Okay, why? The reason is whenever you see a sentence using all of these words, it basically refers to some other sentence, and that some other sentence is usually the introduction. Okay, so you need to be careful about these words. Then if I talk about the middle part, how do we solve that? So you need to check connections. Now, does it connect the previous statement to the next line? If yes, then obviously that's your answer. Again, there should not be any abrupt shift. What is the meaning of abrupt shift? It should not look like it is connected to the first part but not connected to the second. Okay, so there should not be some random judging or some random guessing that you do, and just because it fits one part you're trying to just squeeze it in. No, it does not work like that. And then if it is an ending, look for resolution. Do you get the solution to your problem? Do you get a summary? Do you get some inference? And in order for us to not choose a particular option, you need to also ensure whether it is introducing a new idea. Because if they are introducing a new idea, that cannot be your ending. Okay? New ideas are usually introduced probably in the beginning or in the middle, right? So, taking you to the next one. Now, how can we actually attain mastery in eliminations? So first of all, our real weapon is we need to remove options that break the flow. Anything that is breaking the flow is basically your hint and basically a red flag. So whenever you see that there is a shift in the author's tone, that means you need to be extra careful. Whenever you see the writer introducing unrelated ideas is actually a very direct way to eliminate an option. Now, what are you going to keep in this case? You're going to keep the option which feels inevitable. That means you cannot do without it. You are going to keep the option that maintains the logical flow and continuity. Okay, so all these factors taken into account is going to help us solve these questions smoothly. Now, there is also a pro strategy which the toppers usually use. They tend to read the entire paragraph first, okay, and then they try to understand the gap type. Gap type as in, is it setting the premise for me? Is it the introductory statement? Is it providing me the solution of something? Is it the concluding statement? Is it connecting the dots between the former and the latter part? So that means, is it the middle sentence that's missing? And then you start questioning yourself, basically predicting the role of the missing sentence. What exactly is the role that this missing sentence needs to play? Is it a connector? Is it an introduction? Is it a conclusion? Is it an additional piece of information? You need to ask yourself questions like that. Then check options against your prediction. See what are the options available. Try to put that in the blank. So you need to again understand, para completion is not just simply about filling a blank. It's also about restoring meaning to the entire paragraph. Restoring meaning means the whole paragraph, when read together, should make complete sense. It should not look like a motley of random ideas thrown here and there, right? Now, we're going to solve a passage together. I hope you can see my screen. If not, then let me just increase the font size. I hope now it's visible. I'm going to move aside so that you can go through that. By the way, as you can see, this particular para completion question has been taken from CAT 2025 previous year paper slot 1. Okay, so be very careful and see where do you think this sentence actually fits. Okay, giving you some time to go through it. I hope you are ready to discuss the answers here. By the way, let me just take you to the next slide. Now, these are the options that are present to us. Okay, option 3, option 4, option 2, option 1. So 3, 4, 2, 1 is basically the sequence here. Now, let's first of all try to understand what's going on in the passage. So as I've said, toppers usually read the whole thing first in order to get a general idea. Now here, when we read the first line, we get to see that sisters follow traditional methods. Why? Because they embrace the ways their great-grandfather built and repaired instruments. Then we also get to see the details about how they build the instruments. We also talk about craftsmanship and how it is a time-consuming process. And then we also talk about its popularity. People like Los Lobos, and then there is the Delgado family, like who own custom guitars made by all three generations of the Delgado family. So that means it is a very popular product in a way. And then we see the backstory, which is the early involvement. And where do you think this particular statement actually fits in this particular context? Okay, so let's try to understand. Once we read the first statement, where we understand the sisters have been, following the steps of their great grandfather and how they used to build as well as repair the instruments. So as soon as we talk about that, this statement fits perfectly. Why? Because we were mentioning the sisters and Eva is one of the sisters. Okay? Because if you try to squeeze this statement somewhere else, it will look like, we are trying to break the flow. So it is bridging the gap basically. And just post that, you read the statement, when crafting a Mexican guitar used in mariachi music, they used teakwood wood. So they start talking about how the instrument is built. Okay, so that means they are trying to reinforce old traditions, old school craftsmanship, and we are not really jumping to results, fame, or future. It's that simple. Okay, so if I look at option 1, it continues the idea of the traditional methods. Okay, this was the traditional way we were repairing and building instruments, and we are trying to confirm it by adding this right here. Okay, so and also when you read the next line, it smoothly leads you into instrument making techniques. Okay, so that's why this fits perfectly. Why the other options cannot be the answer? So by the way, let's first of all choose this as our answer, option D, which is basically option 1. That's where this statement will fit. When I talk about option 2, here, right, it likely talks about results. We are talking about outcomes here, but results will actually come after the process, not before them. Okay, that's why this cannot be the answer. If I talk about option 3 here, it mentions waitlist, demand, popularity, and this again belongs later, and also it actually appears later. So putting this statement here would actually break the flow of the passage, and that is the popularity flow. The popularity flow की बात यहाँ होती है, and suddenly if I add this, it will not go in sync with that, and it feels like a random jump, and that's why even 3 is eliminated. अगर हम बात करें fourth की, तो we talk about famous clients, we talk about the recognition that Delgado family has received. Again, this is end of the paragraph kind of material, not something you introduce right after tradition. So that's why this also is eliminated. Now, one more thing that you need to keep in mind, if you see any particular blank, not adding new information. So you need to be careful about, smoothly transitioning and entering into another paragraph. You need to find the place exactly where it smoothly transitions the paragraph into something new. Okay. Now, moving to the next question. Again, as you can see, this particular question has been picked from slot 2 CAT 2025 previous year question papers, and the missing statement is huge, so be very, very careful about it. Giving you some time to read it. Let's try to understand what's going on in this paragraph. First of all, we are being introduced to the key concepts, and that is taste versus judgment, right? And we also get to see Deneni's focus. We also get to see that it is more general and not detailed or historical. So when I look at option 1, why it cannot fit option 1? For the simple reason because likely it is too specific or example driven. Now openings should be broad, framing statement, something that captures the idea in a more generic fashion. It should not be detailed like the sentence that is missing here, the missing sentence that's given here. Okay, so it kind of feels like you've already started explaining before introducing. This kind of looks like an explanation, not an introduction. If I look at option 2, it probably jumps into history, which is 17th, 18th century shift, which you can clearly see here. I hope it's visible, right? But history comes later, as you can see, and is already present in the paragraph. So starting with it would actually feel very abrupt and unstructured. So even this option gets eliminated, right? Then what should be our answer? So we see option 3 kind of gets it. Now the reason is, first of all, it introduces both the key concepts, taste versus judgment. It also establishes a tension slash contrast, okay, some type of complication. It also mentions the philosophical context, which is post-Kantian ideas, and it's also setting up the need to revisit taste. So that's the reason this is where this statement fits perfectly. So the paragraph flows very, very smoothly once we have identified this. Now, why it cannot be option 4? Because first of all, we are talking about the conclusion here. This does not look like a conclusion. Okay, it's likely about recovering neglected thinkers or its relevance, and that is clearly a concluding idea. This is a conclusion, not an introduction. Okay, so we need to understand that this part will not fit here because this is kind of an explanation of a point. We are furthering a point, and that's the reason it fits somewhere in the middle. It cannot be the opening statement, it cannot be the concluding statement. So the correct answer here is this, right? Option 3. Let's see which option are we going to choose here. Option A. So I hope you have understood this, and this is just a general introduction to a very important batch that we have just launched, and that is the CAT DIY kit. And basically the motto is pretty clear and simple: maximum results in minimum time. And this is the most flexible model that you can ever enroll yourself into. So basically most of the people might be busy in their work, in their colleges, and this is basically the beauty of CAT DIY kit. You can study at your own pace, you can watch the videos at your own pace, and whenever you want, wherever you want. So you get catanomid lectures, you get live doubt solving. You also get a personal IM mentor who actually helps you analyze your progress and basically tells you where you are lagging. And we also prepare you for GDPI, which is stage 2, VAT preparation. And as you can see, the price is 14,999. So definitely go for it, enroll yourselves, and basically get the maximum benefits out of CAT DIY kit. Thank you so much for your time. I'll be seeing you soon. I hope you learned something new in this session. Please start incorporating it in your daily schedule. At least try solving 1 or 2 para completion, para jumbles questions that will actually give you the kind of, I would say, sharpness, that edge that you actually require on the day of the exam. So yeah, that's it from my side. Until then, happy learning. Thank you so much.